Alright, let's look at homework 6.1, problem number 9. Alright, so we want to find the area of the region bounded by all these guys. Alright, so let's do that. Alright, so we need to determine which one is the top and which one is the bottom. And you can see that between -1 and 1, x squared minus 1 is going to be negative. And exponential function is always positive, so this function is actually negative. All right, so this guy is going to be the bottom guy. So this function right here is our bottom function. All right, and then y equals 0, which is the x-axis. This is the top one. Right, then it goes from -1 to +1. Right, so we can set up the integral. So area is going to be the integral from -1 to +1. Right, top one is 0, so it's going to be 0 minus. All right, you have x squared minus 1 times e to the x. All right, so I'm gonna put the parentheses and dx. All right, then I'm gonna just clean it up a little bit. So this is gonna be equal to integral from -1 to +1. Then I'm going to just distribute this negative sign to both x squared, and also I'm going to distribute that to -1. So that's going to be +1. So I'm going to write +1 first. So it's going to be a +1 minus x squared. Then you have e to the x. All right. Then we have dx. All right, so let's use the integration by parts. We're gonna let u be 1 minus x squared, and the dv is going to be the rest of it, so it's going to be a e to the x dx. Right, so if you take the derivative of u with respect to x, you will get -2x. Right, so we can find the du by multiplying both sides by dx. Right, so that's going to be -2 x dx. Right here, we can just divide through by dx, so that we have du over dx, which is going to be our e to the x. Right, then we can just take the antiderivative with respect to x. We can get the v, which is going to be e to the x. Right, so in order to do integration by parts, we need this u right here and the du and also v. Right, so let's do that. So this is going to be, all right, uv, so it's going to be 1 minus x squared e to the x from -1 to +1 minus then integral from -1 to 1. All right, v du. All right, there's a negative sign here, so I'm going to incorporate this negative sign to turn into a positive sign. So you have 2x e to the x dx. All right. So if you want, you can actually put this 2 outside. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to just put this guy outside. All right. Then we're going to try to do another integration by parts to evaluate this integral right here. All right. So before we do that, we can probably simplify this guy. All right, plugging 1, luckily 1 minus 1 squared is 0, and negative 1, 1 minus negative 1 squared equal to 0 too. So luckily we got 0. So this guy is actually 0. All right, so there's no contribution, so we can just try to evaluate this guy. All right, so we're gonna let so this, I'm going to use the same notation. I don't think we get confused. U is going to be equal to this times x, and dv is going to be the rest of it, which is ex dx. Right? So here we do the same work. So we already know that the v is going to be just e to the x. Alright, so here how we take the derivative, du over dx is going to be equal to 1. Then multiply through by dx. We can get du is equal to dx. Alright, so we have 2 in front, so I'm going to have 2 here. Alright, then we're going to have to do uv, so uv, and here's a du. All right, so it's going to be uv is x e to the x, and going from negative 1 to positive 1 minus integral. All right, and you have negative 1 to 1, and in this case you just have e to the x dx. All right, so we have that. All right, so this is going to be equal to 2 times. All right, I'm going to just go ahead and then plug it in. So plug in the top number, you will get 1 e to the 1, so it's going to be e, minus plug in the bottom number, negative e to the negative 1, so it's going to be plus e to the negative 1. All right, minus. All right, so this is going to be antiderivative of e to the x is e to the x. We like these guys. And then it's going from negative 1 to positive 1. All right, so let's see. Maybe I needed to use a different brackets so that I don't get confused. So here. All right, so this is going to be equal to 2 times. All right, so you have e plus e to the negative 1 minus e, right? Minus, with the negative sign, it's going to be plus e to the negative 1, right? Which means that e is canceled out, e minus e, right? There are 2 of them, right? So it's going to be 2 e to the negative 1. There's a 2 here, so it's going to be 4 e to the negative 1, right? So that should be the area of the region. All right, so let's type it in to see if it's correct. All right, so answer was 4 e to the negative 1, or 4 over e might be a good way to write it. So how about this? 4 over e. So let's check that. All right, looks like we got this one correctly. All right, that's it. I hope that this was clear.